Welcome to Split Second Learning, the podcast where we explore the moments your mind just won't let go of. The ones that shape our lives in ways we often don't even realize. I'm your host, Matt Hudson, creator of Split Second Unlearning, a method designed to clear those frozen emotional memory images of past experiences that quietly run the show. Today, I'm joined by someone who I call a friend. He may disagree, but there we go. Jaap. And Jaap he's Dutch, and he's a psychologist, and he's going to give you his own introduction, and I know you're going to love him as much as I do. Jaap, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. And friendship-wise, I would fully agree. Although we have some political misalignments now and then.
I know, but you're getting better. It'll come with age.
Yeah, probably. But I'm a psychologist in Holland. Basically graduating in 2006. And then realizing I didn't know anything, and now more and more starting to realize that I still don't know a lot, but it's nice to be more and more hanging around in the not knowing, and that is where I think we connect, exploring that realm, and also seeing that there's a lot of, I would say, healing into that part of a system stepping curiously into the unknown, which is, I would say two states that are by societal systems, but also by family systems and whatever comes in. These two states of curiosity and the unknown are a bit, I would say, pushed away. So always nice talking to you about these. About that area of development. Yeah.
Yeah, the deletion filter, if you would.
Yeah.
And I think we chatted about the map, and I'll make sure that the map image goes up somewhere so people can actually get into that. But the way I look at the optimum position for a human being is comfortable not knowing, which it then puts us on par with the rest of the animal kingdom. But then it kind of gets interesting, because if you're brought up in captivity, being human, raised in captivity, you're taught at a very early age to be uncomfortable not knowing. Where's your schoolwork? Well, I haven't. Well, you should do it. Your future relies on it. Don't be late, because this will happen. And so suddenly we're indoctrinated, and we're literally taught to be anxious. And that all connects to the uncomfortable not knowing. And it's interesting when we look at pets nowadays. People who have got domesticated animals with depression. What? Hey, what happened? Well, it seems to be something about being domesticated that creates us and anything else in it to go nuts.
Yeah, it's basically this one of the, maybe because this is how these conversations go, right? That's one of the reasons why I like bringing people into nature, because it brings them into, because that's what I do. I usually under like these TL lights and in a normal chair, but a couple of weeks a year I go out with a group of people, and then we're in the mountains. No phones, no cameras, no watches, And sometimes I include like a 4-day fast where they're at themselves on a mountain, doing nothing, basically being in the wild. And it's just such a utterly human side of humans that comes up then when they're in that, in that environment. And this is actually maybe one of the connections we also have, that I think we're both maybe fascinated by that wildness, which you can find in a conversation as well. Not being about structure, but having a structure that is, that is about being comfortable in the not knowing. That is actually a structure, but but not a structure that is. How you can say it? You can't really make a process out of it.
Well, because with the conversation, we've got this no idea what's going to come out of my mouth, and I've got no idea what your response is going to be. So in that moment, we're in the wild, but we're in captivity because we know that there are rules that underlie our communication. Mm. So that structure has to be there in order, for us to even volunteer to communicate to each other. But it's interesting when I mentioned it to, I think I touched on it with Pete Cohen the other day. I started on a paper about a year ago on, what was it? I sent it off. What was I looking at now? I'm going to have a look. It's on entropy. There you go. So how the heck we ended up, that's a conversation. You've just put me back like 18 months. I was writing the paper on entropy. Yeah, and the energy and the chaos wrapped around it, and I came across some interesting science that basically says the animal kingdom outside of captivity has high entropy. So they're basically they're in the now. They're ready for anything that's coming along, but they're not expending any energy on anything that might come along. You see what I mean? Because they're not there. They're just fully in the now, fully present, which gives them high entropy, which is a bit like this conversation now, if you see what I mean, because it could go anywhere. So the entropy's high.
Entropy being, and maybe give a definition of entropy, or when a system comes in entropy is when it falls apart. It's that the entropy, like, just give a reminder of me or the listeners to what entropy is. It's not a word I use daily.
So we come back to the second law of thermodynamics. So that entropy always increases with time. Yeah, so that when we chat with entropy with human beings, it tends to be around the availability in a system to get the work done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in an organization, if you would, the entropy would be: is there enough in the system to get the job done? So then, if we think about as a human being, then as predictability declines. Let's say, and a very simple explanation would be, when you finish work at 5 p.m. each day and you're home by 5:30, and you work Monday to Friday. So at 5:25, when your partner's wondering where Jaap is, it costs her very little entropy because it's not 5:30 yet. Make sense?
Yeah.
And at 5:30, you always walk through the door. So that means out of all of the choices in the universe, at 5:30, everything collapses on that door opening. Poof. Costs very little entropy. No one has to think about it because Jaap will be home at 5:30. Now, it's 5:45. Where's Jaap? Now your mobile's gonna get a call. Can you see what? Suddenly the energy it takes, because the system's now. It's 6 an hour only more. Yeah, so now the energy within, you see your partner's system, she now rings your father or your mother, or so now that entropy's expended itself and has moved into other systems to get involved with the search. So that's how a very simplistic way of looking at entropy. So the more predictable a system is, or a behavior is, the less entropy it costs. I think the most simple equation, if you would. So that's how I look at it like that. So we're thinking the cost. So if we're in free flow, although it's free flow and we're chatting, our entropy is actually higher because the conversation could go anywhere. So we can end up exhausted from a high energy conversation. But the thing I found fascinating about the study I was looking at is that not only wild animals have this maximum capacity for entropy, but our children do also. That's when it got interesting. Wow. So when you think of Kes at the moment, she's high entropy because you've no idea what's going through, what she's going to do next. Yeah, this being Jaap's little girl. So you have no idea. So at 4, the entropy's off the charts. Now, pretty soon, she's going to enter the chamber. Boom, boom, boom. The education chamber, or the rehabilitation chamber. And our politics are already approaching.
Oh no.
You see, you can't talk education without politics. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because how do our children end up becoming adults with such closed minds? You know, and when they go into that system and they're weighed with ideas, you know, creativity, then their entropy begins. And we're noticing this, you know, there's GAD, isn't it? It's a general anxiety disorder. And the GAD, it's a syndrome now, isn't it? It's huge. All these youngsters coming up terrified of what's coming. Fascinating. Zero entropy. Can you see what I mean? The energy has already been exhausted. It's as if they're taking the energy out of tomorrow as well. So they have nothing left. Anyway, thoughts.
What is? I'm well, probably because of a personal issue there. I'm always fascinated by what happens in that realm, right? In the anxiety, but also the more anger, the anger realm. Yeah. How would you link these two together? Because I think we're in a society where you know, what happens is that we get pulled, via algorithms. You go into a rabbit hole, right? So you go into a polarized state. So I would say there's a lot more sort of hidden aggression and a lot more hidden anxiety than you would have from connecting in small groups, which I see coming together in my work. We have circles of people coming together. I know we've done seminars together where you're basically also in a group of people offline, just interacting as human beings. So how does that entropy and well, if you will, maybe today's system, and then especially I would say the focus on the influence of algorithms. How does that fuel into aggression and anxiety from your point of view?
A great point. When it's human to human, when we pull the whole AI thing out of here, and it's just people. When we're being people, I think amazing things happen. Genuinely, because as soon as we're in a position where our system we're in a group, our system knows that we're not going to get killed, and it's safe, then there's like oxytocin can kick in, and some feel good chemicals. So then a dash of dopamine here, and the less cortisol.
Yeah.
So where our system is, we're calming naturally just by the power of the group, because our primitive system says, look, there's more of us, so we're safe. Now that's a tribal subconscious or evolutionary step, and you think, wow. And now there are people who are even terrified to step into the group. Now, you got to start thinking, wow. Well, I know I do. I think, wow, because I've worked with so many, and youngsters, sadly, who have, they're trapped. The agoraphobia. They're at home, won't leave the bedroom. Hence that song, I am a rock, I am an island. I've got my books and my poetry to protect me. I'm shielded in my armor. Right, sorry about the song, but there you go. The lyrics from that song explain it beautifully. If they've built this cave in their bedroom that they never want to leave. Now, we look at split-second learning. So, when did a small child whose natural instincts are to feel safe in a group, when did a small child learn to fear the group? When would a small child meet a group of others? You're nodding. Any idea?
Well, I would say school, right?
I should write this down. And if the parent has a little bit of anxiety around the child's first day at school, it's indeed possible and fairly plausible that that child might take their caregiver's anxiety and connect it to this context. And since it's first time learning, because I like to explain more about the theory with all of our chats. So it's a first time learning experience.
Yeah.
Mum, dad, main caregiver is anxious. My system is now, I don't know what they're anxious about, but I'll take it.
Yeah. I'll take it.
And suddenly you've got a 4-year-old that's developing a social anxiety, and they only just arrived.
Yeah.
But all the parent will notice tomorrow and the day after and the school, is it begins to manifest, it gets bigger. So then, the parents could end up with the doctor or the psychologist, whatever. Suddenly they're 4.5 years old and they're on a little anxiety pill or something just to get into the school. And all the while, all they have is this first time event.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that with them, again, similar people who do not like to go on a trip or stay over at a place or whatever. And you think, well, where did that come from? But let's rewind. And it's little Jimmy or little Kess's first sleepover. Child's excited. Mom or dad are a little worried. She never slept out of our house before. Yeah, or it's the school camp, the school trip. The parents are waving goodbye as the bus pulls away, and the parents are like, oh. Little child sees the terror. I saw this happening years ago. Take the kids to swimming lessons, and I used to sit there with the moms, and I would be roaring on the kids swimming, and one of the mums is like, oh, terrified. And I said, well, what's the matter? She says, oh, my little one, he's swimming his 100 meters today. Ooh. And I said, well, best he doesn't see you, because he'll drown. And she got a bit ratty with me, which I prefer her ratty, because there's better chance of a child actually swimming, looking at a ratty mother, than an anxious mum. So just, because it's first time learning, it's so amazing and so tragic for the adult later in life, because they haven't got access to that memory because it's deleted. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the impact of first time experiences, right? And then how to get the system, free again, as an adult.
Well, there's a deliberate plug for the Mind Reset app. However, I mean, I know if you saw that session I just did with Pete Cohen the other day, so you can see how simple it is. And I work with a couple of clients who passed my way, and when we pop them out of there, it's kind of cool to see how quickly things can move. Mm-hmm. But I think the big challenge is the realizing it can be quick. That's I think it's interesting, because change can be quick. And there's a journey to go with a human being, and I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because from as a likable human being, you can end up liking your clients, and keeping that professional boundary, I suppose, it can be tough, because they're coming, they're paying for the time, etc. But do we just do the session and say goodbye? Maybe have another session just to check in, make sure that it is a goodbye. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say I always work from a place of what I call suffering. When I say when the suffering is big enough, I can work with you. I'm not here to just have a chat, and because we have agreed upon seeing each other every 2 weeks. You come and I do my thing and you do my thing. At every stage of a conversation, well, usually at the conversation, I would ask, why are we here? And then they say, yeah, well, that's what we talked about last time. I said, well, I haven't forgotten about last time, but I'm checking into the here and now, because that's where we have to start. And what was last time was last time. Maybe that was all cleared, but now something new comes up. So, and there's also a way of working, and what I think is just putting myself in a position where I am always I'm always asking myself the question, do we need to continue or not? Because if it's done, it's done. And that's different from working with maybe a fixed amount of time or a fixed amount of sessions. I'm always in a position where I'm like, okay, if it's done, it's done. Then go out and live and do other things than being under a TL light and talking to a therapist. I mean, there must be nicer nicer things.
Let's hope there are. I mean, there's got to be something. Right? I mean, I enjoy chatting with you.
Yeah. I mean, and then it's so yeah, that there's that part of. Someone said, and I like someone said to be wholly indifferent. So I'm always fascinated by our conversation around the state you're in as a therapist. Yeah, you call this the state of grace.
State of grace, yeah.
And someone the other day said something that I think resonated also with it, and he called it holy indifference.
Oh yeah.
And I liked it because the indifference is I care just enough, but I care, but I don't care so much.
Just enough.
Yeah, but I mean seriously, if I care too much, then I make people small, right?
Yeah.
And there's something in that holiness that I think is, has something to do with being really present, and just having a surrendering in there. And then there's the indifference that says, well, I will help you, but in the end, you have to do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I always like the thing that you say you're not a good therapist if you can't break out into laughter within a second, and that's actually such a if anything I took from you, because I also ask you the question, is there anyone that can do what you do? And then you say, well, there's the app and there's me and there's so we all do our own thing, right?
Yeah.
But that state management, I think, is something that we can, it's the base, it's the ground where we find each other. We're on the same ground, and then you do your Matt thing, and I do my Jaap thing, and then you say something about politics, and then I say something. But coming from that ground, and so that's something I go back to when I help clients. Not so much what is the content of the story, but more, am I still able to be in that state when I'm near this client? And if not, then probably the work is done, right?
Yeah, like it. So I thought of something, right? Now you were chatting about, I think, anxiety, yeah. Mm-hmm. And we made a little note. But I also thought, since we're on this, the agreement for anyone that comes on the show is, if you happen to have, did I just hear? Yeah, I'm sure it's in the footnotes somewhere. You should have read the email. Right? But if you happen to have an emotional memory image that's present and triggering while we're chatting, then we could explore it. Yeah, and obviously, if there's anything personal said, we delete that. It doesn't go out in the, we take it out in the edits. But I mean, just You happen to have mentioned, just a little earlier that there was something in that, and there it is. You see that little tongue in the side of the mouth. That's the feeling coming up. That's interesting. Yeah, so what is that? What do you think that is then? Oh yeah, quick check again. That's the one. Yeah.
The check around anxiety or anger?
I don't know. I've no idea. It seems to be something. There's a bit of anger in there, because your breath shifts. You notice that you've got that. You're smiling at me, but it's through your teeth. Interesting. Yeah. So
I don't know if you can see it, but I'm starting to sweat, right? So there's definitely happening something in the system. There's EMIs all over me, right? So I'm not sure what the angle was. Was it anxiety or was it anger? Or anger, I think it was, right?
I think you'll find it's anger. Yeah. Yeah. A quick check. Isn't that cool? Afterwards, obviously, when we edit, it'll be kind of cool to be able to dissect this. So we could do another show where I figure out how we can watch you accessing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we could sort of dissect, you and I could dissect you, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I think maybe interesting.
Or we could dissect you. We could also do that.
Bring it on. Yeah, I'm always happy to watch how I do things, because obviously I do them, subconsciously nowadays, because I've mastered it. But it is fun because I can watch me and see, that's why I did that, and so anger.
So what I feel right now is that there's this pull to the right. Yeah,
that's to run. That's to get out of this present moment. Yeah. So that's an aversion. Yeah. Because the focal point, man with coaster, the focal point is actually over this side. Mm-hmm. Which is interesting.
Is it there or there?
Yeah, over there. That's it. Yeah. So that's right. You got it on that. Just on that one. You just touched it beautifully.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we now that you're that breath shift, you notice that one? Breath shift, sat back. And the deep breath shift there, so your parasympathetic nervous system sort of, we're arming. There's something going to happen. And I think, wow. And we haven't even begun yet. All we're doing is noticing. And can you see this is where I think the work takes on its own? I mean, because we are content free.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something in the nothing that's impacted your breath, and put your temperature up a little. Mm-hmm. So, and you have no conscious access to it. So chat to me a little about anger. Or, how do you do? Breath shift, flicked away again.
Well, my thing was sports. Yeah. My thing was basically sports, but I never got into a sport where the anger was basically, so it was football and playing golf, which are not really sports where you could do a little bit of anger in football, but it's not really. It doesn't really go to the core of if you talk about something like boxing or kickboxing or whatever, there's a different realm to that. So I think I vented a lot of that into these sports. So there was this dark side of me that really got up, especially during like football. And that was interesting. People didn't really, they saw this, I crack jokes, or at least I try to. And then they saw me on the pitch. And then it was
Jekyll and Hyde.
yeah, it was like a twist. So, um, there is that side of me, and it played a big part in my life. I would say I stopped playing football now, and but obviously I've been a lot of times I've been into that zone of. I would say anger, destruction. I wasn't a laughable, nice guy on the pitch. So I guess there's something there that, where did that come from?
That's interesting. Now, once I let you run a little, what I noticed is it's actually a universal quantifier. Yeah, so it's running ahead of time. So even though it's your past, you're still flicking up there to your future. So you still have it in you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I took up.
There it is. See there. You see that look?
Yeah. Well,
you're checking up there,
Yeah.
and
No,
that's tomorrow.
Yeah. And if I were to make content out of it, I would say it's looking for something wants to be expressed. I missed. I did some kickboxing the last year, and then I realized, it's so nice to voice myself, and I used to do that in the football pitch as well, because I was defender, and I was shouting the whole game, left, right, and I thought, there's just something in that expression, which is, I think, I think there some kind of a twist, is there,
Yeah, interesting. So. Would you like to know what's going on?
Yeah, well, shoot. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
So, universal quantifier, or a generalization. So basically, when you've been a kid, there's been a situation at some point where you have felt you could not speak up for yourself. And in that moment, you thought you'd never be able to speak up for yourself. Does that make sense? That's why it becomes a universal, because it needs that never, and I'll never, and it has to be an upset. That first time, whatever it was, doesn't matter. But little you thought never.
Yeah.
It was born. But the problem is with a never is it always, always, always stays ahead of you. And that's what you've been asking. I thought, what's he doing? And that's why I let you run a little. Once I let you run, I thought, there she's sitting up there, not back there. That's interesting. So it's in tomorrow. So when you're like kickboxing, in that you're feeling like, I have a voice, I can release something. But the next day you wake up, it's 24 hours ahead of you again. So it's momentarily released, but it's still present in your timeline.
Yeah.
Is that making sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I know you always go, because of it. It doesn't matter. All that matters is a younger you thought, I'll never be able to, whatever. And you've been angry when it's happened, and it's gone in.
Yeah.
So all we do is put it back in time where it's supposed to be. Now, what are you noticing with a big grin on your face?
Just. Okay, what am I noticing? I mean, yeah, I'm searching, right? I'm scanning.
Yeah,
What I'm
scanning,
noticing.
that's always good.
But I mean, my breath is. I mean, it's down. It's in my stomach. So
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I'm looking. I'm looking for it, and I know that I'm also asking myself, why am I looking for it? Because it's okay.
I'm gonna make a selection, right? And because you're doing what Pete Cohen did the other day, and I think you said something like, I can't feel what's not there, or something you said.
Right.
And that's what you're doing is you're looking
Yeah,
and say, what am I looking for? I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
And
Yeah, there it
actually,
is.
he said it feels like it's not there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
look at that.
but
Look at how busy.
yeah. So I'm feeling into the pool, right? And I'm not
You
sensing the
can't
pool.
find the pull.
So well, there is something, but that's there, yeah. So
That's
that's
all the way back, and then that's where the memory consolidation comes in. Beautiful piece of research. So when we do that, then when we activate, all of that neurochemistry from the first time event is present, and they reckon the window is about 6 hours. So if we make the intervention, have a night's sleep, and everything shifts and back into alignment again. So because now when we're chatting, you're present. So if you try thinking about it, you'll notice you stay here.
yeah,
And you had a quick check to say, you see what I mean? There's no breath shift. There's no big look over there. Neutral
yeah,
and comfortable not knowing.
yeah,
Well, other than scratching your head and think, but what was it? But your state is a state of grace again.
yeah.
And that's really it. So can you see we could end up, if I want to make a living from being just a I see you next week, see you next week, see you, we could spend an awful long time. Tell me about your father. Tell me about your relationship with your mother. We could spend years, and some people do, and you get a lot of understanding, but you still have the anger sitting under the surface.
Right.
Whereas if we do it this way, it's clean,
Yeah.
and we can tell nobody any personal data. This hasn't been cut. I mean, we're in real time here. So
Yeah.
how cool.
Very cool.
So I'm chuckling because when I said Chewy, there's a little bit of apprehension. It's like I never read this. You never mentioned the working with it.
Look, I'm as I noticed my system looking for. Is it really gone? Can it be that? And I noticed this also. Obviously. Sometimes the hard part is not so much the fact that maybe healing is taking place or something has dissolved, but the hard part is maybe to accept the fact that it is gone. Like you made the analogy of when the muffler of the car is broken, you go to a garage and they fix them, and then what do I do now? Well, just drive around
Go test it.
until you find something else that that's probably clogging up the system.
Yeah.
But I mean, all good. Yeah. Still feeling.
I see that's when I get that. Yeah. It's like In that you're now in the void. Yeah, the deletion filter has gone. Your system's taking on information, and I think that's why also a good night's the night's sleep really works, because it allows your system to rewrite because tomorrow is alive and kicking in our neurology. We have scientific principles that can show that when you think about next month, there's an area in your brain that'll light up. So that you tomorrow has now changed. Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see what it. Let's see what it brings. Right. It's good. It's good to have that out of the way. It's. There's. I mean, just. Yeah. It's probably taking a lot of energy, right? To keep that under the. To keep that under the. Under the mat. Under the mat. And also, just from a human point of view, and maybe, and I'm not sure how we are in time, Matt,
Yeah,
because,
sorry.
but as you look at it from a coaching perspective, right? I did football for probably 35 years. And I've never had a coach that said to me, "Okay, Jaap, first half, that was all good. The opponent, he's, you got him out of the way, one way or another. We're 2-0 ahead. You did your job. You're as serious as can be. Now, please, for the second half, just enjoy yourself a little. Bring out the playfulness, right? Never in these 35 years I've had a coach that actually would have freed me up, because I noticed for the last couple of years I was just in a team with friends. It wasn't competitive anymore. Suddenly I was enjoying the experience, and I was actually a way more and a way relaxed and connected athlete.
And you played better ball.
I played better ball. So just from a coaching perspective, because maybe there's some coaches watching, just being able to not fall into the trap of the mask, that is on the front side, but to also acknowledge the basically the bigger power that is behind it. Is interesting, because a lot of people are fooled by the mask.
And the Dutch lost a very, very good golfer by all accounts.
Well, I don't. Well, I don't know about that, but in the performing under pressure wasn't my thing, right?
Well, again, if you had that anger piece sitting there,
no.
Can you see what I mean? Any sort of pressure would have triggered it.
Yeah.
So you'd lose. So the beautiful energy that is. And that's a guy I love. When we first met, you had your mask on and you does a few press ups and I'm chuckling to myself because I thought, what a beautiful guy, yeah. But your defenses are up there, so it's fun. These sort of things, just. And it's only when we sit down and say, let's have a look at that piece, and we just go, boop. We don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be interesting as a dad too. Because you're in your father role, you know what I mean? That's going to be interesting, and your relationship. It'll be fun to come back and just chat about what shifts.
Right. Yeah, no. Always.
Right then. So, should we call time on that one and maybe come back and do another? Is that all right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you got a website and everything in case people want to get in touch with you because you're such a cool, yeah.
Shall I?
All
Shall
your,
I can send you that.
yeah, just nice and loud. It's just
Oh, so it's
yap.com.
jaapduin.nl, and the elements, the expeditions I do into nature are called. It's called elementsexpeditions.com. Elements.
Wow, right, and elementsexpeditions.com. So
Yeah.
you can give me the links, I'll put them in the show notes as well.
Yep.
So, Yap, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That wasn't so bad at all. Right? And
Yes,
for listeners, right? Listeners who want to listen to a little bit more of Yap's wisdom, yeah, I'm going to get him back on the show and we'll do a little bit of investigation. Right? But I think that was fun. So if today's conversation has sparked something for you, if you felt that tug of recognition that there might be a split-second moment still shaping your life, you can find out more at Split Second Unlearning and Mind Reset at matthudson.com. And that's all for today's episode of Split Second Learning. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a perspective on change. I'm Matt Hudson. I'll see you next time when we'll discover the next moment that stuck.